I finally told my doctor about the imaginary split personality, I think is how I phrased it. Hey, long time no ramble, and it feels weird rambling because I think my mind is just that messed up. But yeah, let's go. I'll film what I can, and if I hate it, I'll just delete it instead of uploading it. Yeah, I'm sorry I've been distant the last couple months. I think I last live streamed in April, and it's now June. I've just been having a lot of problems with my moods and stuff, and it's just like feeling detached from everything. So, like, I don't know what I enjoy anymore. Maybe I don't know. It's confusing because my mind is just keeps going between all these different modes, but like the main thing I guess is the mood swings, and today is a downswing, so that doesn't help because I was like, hey, I've got some time to myself in the house, I could film something, but the day that I want to film I'm feeling like, oh, what's the point of everything, kind of depressed. But as you can see, I'm doing my best to try and be animated and, instead of coming on camera going, hey guys, no, no, you know what I mean? So yeah. But yes, this emotional roller coaster mood swings. That's my biggest problem, and what I'm concerned about is if I don't figure out how to pull myself out of this, I could end up getting depressed, which I would really like to avoid because the last one I only just survived, to be honest. So I'm not too keen to do it all again. Yeah, especially because I can't just, run off to Japan to try and recover this time. So yeah, I don't really know what's causing the mood swings. Maybe it's just some biological thing and I haven't figured out what. But yeah, that sucks. So, probably 2 months ago with the live streams, yeah, I just wasn't feeling it, and I mean, it's so weird to come online and just talk about my problems to people I don't know. It's a very strange thing that the internet has done, and like, what does it matter? The last while I've also like posted less on Facebook, although I'm still posting more than the average person probably. Yeah, so it feels weird, and I just like with anhedonia is a problem I've been having, and I like, just slowly losing interest in more and more things, and when it hits YouTube I'm like, oh shit, that's been a thing for a while for me, but no. So yeah, I've been seeing my GP, although not that often, but it's just like I see her and then I have a think and I'm like, oh, I'm not ready to YouTube again yet because I want to figure stuff out. But am I ever going to figure stuff out? Maybe not, so let's try YouTube therapy. Anyway, I don't even know if I'm making sense, but so I guess the problems that I went to her last month with is probably like the more significant ones, and it took me a month to sort of psych myself up for it properly because I told her about mood swings and also the derealisation. So I'd be going out, especially when I'm walking Hope around the neighborhood, and just would have these, yeah, feelings of like, is this even real? I'm pretty sure I'm just in a video game. And once I've realized it's a video game, why am I not waking up from it like the Matrix? Or do I have to find like are there any phones that actually have cords these days? How do you get out? Oh man. But yeah, no, the derealization, like feeling like nothing's real, that's really unhelpful because I already have that existential thing of like, well, there is no inherent meaning in anything I'm doing. But to then feel like none of this is real anyway, it's not. It's very disconcerting, and my concern is if I get depressed and have both of those at the same time, the outcome may not be so good. So yeah, I'd already told her about a bit of that. But see, if nothing's real, I've noticed I've found it easier to make phone calls lately. Like, since childhood, I've found phone calls, like making phone calls, a little bit of an anxiety thing, and, sort of going over in my head, what do I need to say, and all this kind of stuff, and then feeling a little bit, and, yeah, because nothing's real and nothing matters in my head, I just make phone calls and it's no big deal. I'm like, and I know what some people have already told me is like, oh, that's good, you've finally gotten over that anxiety. But what concerns me is the reason I've gotten over that anxiety is because I just don't give a fuck anymore. Like, I don't think that's necessarily the healthiest way to get over a problem. I don't know if I can really explain that if it doesn't make sense, but I got my hair redone, by the way. I'm sure you've seen some of the posts about that, and like on Instagram and so on. Instagram and Facebook posted some pictures also in the community tab, which actually a bunch of you reacted to for a change. So thanks, guys. I guess I've been away too long, and you're like, what's going on? Anyway. Where was I? So the anxiety with the phone calls, yeah, it hasn't really been an issue. And so I'm like, well, if nothing's real anyway, I'll just tell my doctor a bunch of stuff, even stuff I'm insecure about. And like, cause what does it matter? I've already like I'm in my early 30s as well, and I've already like made a mess of my life. So what does anything matter? I mean, I'm lucky to have a stable support system and all that. So but yeah, I've also just messed up my life. Like I'm not going to become anyone who needs to keep shit private or needs to have people not think I'm crazy. So yeah, I just went to my doctor with all my problems, but I knew I wouldn't be able to talk about it. And like I tried really hard to say it in words, but once I got in there, I was just like, no, all my defenses up, I'm shutting down. So I actually wrote some notes on my phone, which I've now got on my computer, so I can read some of it to you. And I just showed that to her. Now, these first ones are not really a problem. I've already talked about emotional roller coaster mood swings, the numbness and the world not feeling real. Then I get into confused slash lack of sense of self. It's like, I don't know who I am. Look at all these knickknacks, right? I remember, like, I know that I bought these things, but I'm not connected to the version of me that bought these things. And I want to, like, look at all this mess I've got. I want to get rid of it, right? But because I can't really feel anything, I'm like, well, what if I recover from the anhedonia and suddenly I do feel things again and I do want to keep this stuff, but I've already thrown it out? Like, I don't know what future me wants to keep, so I'm just reluctant to throw anything out because I'm like, this is just where I'm at right now. This may not be me forever, so maybe I shouldn't just throw everything out. The other thing is when you start like throwing stuff out and giving things away, people think that you're preparing for suicide if you're giving all your stuff away, and I don't need people to have that concern about me as well. So I'm a bit like, I mean, like I have thought about selling stuff, like my cello, for example, but I think selling things is actually holding me back from throwing stuff out or giving stuff away, because then I have to like take photos, I have to list it, or like price it, and then I have to post it somewhere, and then go through the whole social interaction of trying to hand over stuff. And I think I just can't be bothered. Plus, like my financial situation is a lot better than it has been in a while because I've been working more, and also like, you know, I've got I'm living at home with my parents who are very supportive, who also need me to fix their Netflix so they can't get rid of me. So, you know, money is not a huge problem, even though I've sort of grown up with that intense financial anxiety. So I'm sort of trying to get over that and being just like, well, if I need to get rid of this, instead of selling it, I should just give it away. Maybe if I give it away to friends, I'd be like, hey, if you can, you know, give me a little bit for it, that would be nice. But if you can't afford it, just take my stuff. I've been thinking about that. Maybe I will do that if you start seeing things disappear if I keep vlogging, because who knows with the way my psychology is at the moment. But yeah, I I know I keep going on mini tangents, but I don't want to get rid of this stuff just yet, because what if future me is just waiting to enjoy it all again? You know, I've got all my dragons. I've did that dragon shelf video, some of you might remember. I've got so much stuff that I've collected over the years, and I'm just like, who cares? It's just stuff, and like, yeah. I mean, there are things I've thrown out in the past, or, well, I sold on eBay back when that made sense. Like, now eBay feels a bit too polished for me. But yeah, I did sell some stuff way back, and then I was like, oh, I probably shouldn't have sold those books because they were interesting to read. But hey, what's done is done. It took me a while to get over that. But see, that's what I'm concerned about, is that future me may get upset with now me for getting rid of everything. Anyway, so confused lack of sense of self is sort of to do with like, what is this? And you know, I can get into the way I see myself. at another point, and I've probably explained it in the past, but I've got like 3 ways that I see myself. But no, next on the list, before we get completely sidetracked. So yeah, anhedonia, detachment from hobbies, etc. I mean, I stopped painting ages ago because I realized it wasn't relaxing. But like, yeah, doing less music. I can't even get into new music at the moment. Like, it's very difficult. I found one band that had a song that I was like, oh, this is cool. Partly because it's the kind of band I would like to join, and the vocals are not too far from what I'm doing. I have a really weird voice, I realized. I accidentally learned exactly the opposite vocals to what I should have been doing, but whoops, what can you do? I will just be that weird, different person out on the scene. Maybe if I can get projects going. But yeah, detachment from hobbies. I think you guys who've been following me have noticed the YouTube has not been happening. Like, I've done the tiny little short videos here and there, but mostly it's just been Punk Rave Australia. And that's because of when I have a job to do. Like, they're not paying me, but they're giving me free clothes, and so I feel obligated to do that. And so that's been the thing that's been motivating me to keep making those videos. But in terms of like my own hobby videos that I have to self-motivate, that's been a lot harder to get to. And so today I'm making myself do it. But, I could still delete it at this point. We'll see. I guess if you're watching this, well done me for posting the thing. Anyway, so now we come up to the last thing on the list. And this is where I would just like, here we go. I finally put this out into the medical world, and now I'm also putting it on YouTube and saying, no, this is actually a thing for me. So, imaginary split personality flare-ups. Now, I worded it like that very specifically. If I meant something like dissociative identity disorder or OSDD, I would have said that. But I don't think those are my problems. I think this is something else, and I just haven't got my head around what it could be. So I've specifically worded it imaginary split personality flare-ups, because kids have imaginary friends, right? And I think this is a bit like that, but my brain has just gone and I don't freaking know. Anyway, so then I put this little arrow emoji, to sort of give her a better idea of what I mean. Although I probably should have said it's not dissociative identity disorder, because I think she's sort of gone away and thought, looked up some stuff and maybe thought something in there. Because I saw her about a week ago, and she said maybe instead of calling it split personality, we should call it something less scary like dissociation. And I when I'm in those sessions, I do kind of shut down a little bit, like the defenses go way up. And even talking on camera right now, like I'm alone right now, so that's easier, but I know this will end up on the internet if I'm brave enough. But my defenses just go whoop, especially in that in-person kind of setting. But no, I don't know that it's scary. It's only scary because of the way that pop culture and stuff has interpreted stuff. Although I guess my version of it is very probably pop culture influenced, but without me realizing, because it sort of is a thing that happened in my brain before I realized it was in pop culture, but I could have absorbed it accidentally. I don't know. Anyway, so the arrow down, let's not get sidetracked. I said I'm very sensitive about this. I'm aware it's not real, but that doesn't help. Impacts decision making and sleep, which I put in bold because it has been fucking with my sleep lately. Confusing physical symptoms, intermittent but persistently recurring since childhood, not previously talked about in medical context due to fear of being dismissed, but also fear of being taken too seriously and misdiagnosed. Also, bad experience with first psychologist shutting down conversation before hearing details. Seems unlikely to be OCD, obsession, or autism special interest, as it's not constant, and I don't think I have either condition. Didn't raise at last depression because it had gone away and I'd assumed I'd finally grown out of it. So some of you, I did do 2 videos where I was trying to explain some of this, in a more structured way, and then I just completely chickened out. It got too weird. I think I took too long to get through all the issues, and I just shut down and was like, fuck. So even the playlist still exists, but I unlisted it. So unless you copied down that playlist at the time, it's hard to find it. And I think scrolling through my videos on my channel is a bit difficult because YouTube's done this thing where instead of showing all your videos, they only show a certain number. So do I have to make a playlist so that you can find all my old videos without having to search obscure things? I don't know, but some of you might be able to find those videos. I haven't watched them in ages because I just feel too awkward. I hate watching old videos of myself, but also talking about that topic. Yeah, we are talking about destroyer stuff now, which is the name, not really name, I wouldn't call it a name, title given to this imaginary split personality thing. Yeah, I hate fucking talking about it. And you know what's really weird is because I use Destroy America as my thing everywhere, and YouTube thinks I'm saying Destroy America. If you've ever checked out the subtitles they automatically put on, oh my god, I'm gonna get the CIA on me, aren't I? Yeah, no, because I use Destroy America for like everything now, not just YouTube. It's like my art name, my music name, blah 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 blah. Every now and then I get someone going, "Hey, Destroyer," and I'm like, you don't understand what that means to me, but hey, that's my own fault, isn't it? I mean, was I trying to normalize it? It's weird because I had this huge gap, and since that gap, like, it's been different to how it used to be. For those of you who followed me for like 10 years, and you remember some of the earlier videos that I talked about it, like, it's very different. Like, it's the same thing. I can feel it's the same thing, but I guess I'm not trying to overinterpret it these days, and I'm not trying to impose too much on it, and so I'm just trying to figure out, like, what does it actually feel like, what I'm actually experiencing, without adding a narrative to it, or I don't know. It's tricky because my brain, it just like, I sort of, my mood can change how I think, and my, like, I don't know. It's confusing to talk about stuff sometimes because, like, I could have an opinion or I could express an opinion, but I don't necessarily believe the opinion sometimes, and maybe I'll just like flip flop. Yeah, I like, maybe this is why I mean, one of the things my GP, the main thing I'm concerned about is getting depressed. So, like, the imaginary split personality thing, because I've mentioned it and it's one of those dramatic things, I feel like it might end up dominating conversation a little bit more than it should. My real problem is I'm scared of getting depressed. But where was I going with that? I lose my train of thought so easily. Oh, dang. Dang, where was I going with that? Anyway, um, no, I actually don't remember what I was just talking about. That's really bad. And it's like, maybe I was gonna talk about like the politics thing. Oh, that's right. Yeah, no, with getting depressed, right? My doctor's suggestion was like, maybe I need to find something I really believe in and like pursue that. I don't really know how to word it, but like, like environmental activism or something, people get right into that and that gives their life purpose. The thing is, I don't believe in anything that strongly. I'm politically, I'm sort of like this centrist, flip-flopping different ways. There's some issues I lean this way, some issues I lean that way, and then some that I'm undecided on, and maybe that's related to my brain just like holding lots of opinions at once and sort of getting a bit confused about it. And maybe that leads into why my brain likes to compartmentalize itself into different pieces. I don't know, there's so much I could talk about with this imaginary split personality stuff and what it means to me, because there's more than just, ooh, dark side, whatever. But no, I want to try and get this under 20 minutes, but so I'll quickly go through the 3 ways that my sense of self is fucked up, and then maybe we'll leave it at that because I'm getting confused about what I'm even talking about now. But so the 3 ways my personality is fucked up. So there's the imaginary split personality refers to me and Destroyer, and that is not like a perfect split. It's like my hair. There's the front me, sort of a bit gloomy sometimes, and then there's the ta-da, crazy me. It's like in the background. So that's the one that I feel like least connected to. There's like, I'm not even going to try and explain it, but there's that one. Another way my sense of self is messed up is like, when you go into different situations and you behave a little bit differently and maybe think a little bit differently, and it's sort of like a different side of you might come out. Who you are at work, for example, is different to who you are at school, is different to who you are just hanging with friends, is different to who you are seeing your doctor, stuff like that, right, in different situations, and that's perfectly normal. But I think like who I am on YouTube, how I express stuff on YouTube as well. I think what is weird for me is just that I notice that more than other people perhaps, and it just feels more jarring for me. Like, even like who I am doing a video blog versus who I am doing a Punk Rave Australia fashion Mariko video. Like, it's weird, and it's weird because I have to edit myself, which means I have to watch myself in these different modes, and I'm just like, who the fuck are you? But I know it's me, and like, I'm not lying about stuff, I'm just expressing things differently, and I can see that my thought patterns are different in a way, and like, it's weird. It weirds me out, and so like, it's a very normal thing for people to experience, but for me, I'm just like, it just feels odd. And then the other thing that my sense of self is messed up is like me now versus me in the past. And like this has been a thing since I was like at least 10, maybe. Just realizing that the week before, like feeling like I'm smarter than I was a week ago. Wow, what an idiot a week ago me was. And then having these sort of breaks in my life where I feel like I've become different enough that I no longer feel connected to the old version of me. And that's why I had so much trouble writing paper diaries, because I just ripped the pages out. I'm like, this is stupid. Who the fuck wrote that? I know it was me, but like, like I even remember writing it. I'm just like, this is stupid shit. And the thing with YouTube, like I can't just rip up YouTube. People have already seen it as well. So if I just delete stuff, well, there's still people who know that I said this shit. So yeah, but I do feel like who I am now versus who I was when I was depressed last time. Like even that was only 5 years maybe. I've been not depressed for 3 years, but like even who I am now versus who I was in 2018, still at uni, I feel disconnected from past versions of me. So there's three ways, right? Me versus past versions of me versus me in different situations, and then me versus the one that actually feels a bit more split, like a different person in a way, but not really, like, because it's all in my head. Mirror image thing doesn't work on this camera, but anyway, yeah, so that's a quick overview. We can elaborate one day, maybe, if I'm feeling up to it, or maybe I'll just pretend this video never happened. Which is probably one of the reasons I don't want to do a live stream, is if you guys ask me questions live and then I'm like, But also I don't want like political stuff popping up in the live chat, because I'm just so over politics right now and some of the shit I see on Facebook. I can't do it. No. Anyway, so what's happening? Well, like, I waited until now, I think, because I wanted to talk to my GP again just about some of this stuff and figure out what we're going to do. And I think we've sort of gone off track, because, like, I wanted to figure out whether there's some other diagnosis that fits, like the autism thing, which a few people think I have, or if there's something else that I just haven't heard of, or I don't know, because, like, I'm tired of the mood swings, but also even recovering from depression, I'm at this stable level, but I'm not really like living my life. It's just sort of like a placeholder, I feel like I need to move somewhere, and I feel like the fact that I'm not really doing much with my life is probably making me more likely to go downhill. So yeah, I need to, if there's anything to be figured out, I'd like to figure that out. If I just need to change things about my life and, maybe do something more interesting, then maybe I should do that. So maybe I have something that can be diagnosed, maybe I don't. Maybe it's just psychology I need to work on. But yeah, I don't know. I told her about this stuff, this imaginary split personality, and she sat for a very long time, very quiet, like, what do we do about this? And I told her, like, I don't need to see someone straight away, but, something to think about, because, like, just raising it in that medical context was hard enough. It's like one of the scariest things I've done in ages, because, I was so determined to just keep it to myself, especially, like, when I thought maybe I could recover something of my life. But I've messed up my life enough now that it doesn't really matter, but it's still nerve-wracking to finally just say it. I'm not sure why this particular issue is so sensitive for me, but it is. It just is. But yeah, no, and so a month later, like, that was in May, and then this month. I mean, she's thought about it and whether there's anyone to refer me to, but yeah, nothing happened in that month between not seeing her. And then this month, yeah, we talked about it some more, and she wasn't really going to send me to anyone because I'm not depressed and like my life is stable. You know, I've got 2 casual jobs and it's going okay and I'm not depressed, but I I really worry that I'm going to end up depressed, and I don't want that. I don't think I can deal with it. And that I'm just like, I'm also just frustrated with my life, and I don't think this meh level is really good. I think I need to like try to, like, now that I'm at a point of stability, maybe I can actually fix some of my psychology and like move forward instead of just staying put. Um, yeah, so we had a talk. She was going to refer me to a new psychiatrist. Because I said the split personality thing, she's decided it's got to be a psychiatrist and not a psychologist. But like with my depression is biological, it seems, so a psychiatrist makes more sense than a psychologist. But yeah, so she was going to refer me to a new dude, but he apparently is booked out until like September. So yeah, she's. Oh my god, I'm so embarrassed because she called me while I was getting my hair done, but I had these little hair clips and stuff, so I couldn't really put my phone right there and couldn't hear. So I didn't even know it was her when she was calling, and I'm like, oh no, I've told her this split personality thing, and now I'm acting like I don't know who she is. It's a bad look. Especially because like I couldn't explain to her exactly what I mean by it. But anyway, yeah, no, it turns out she sent me an email, and it turns out she'd talked to my previous psychiatrist who apparently remembers me. Whether or not that's true, I don't know. But there are a lot of people who seem to remember me longer than I realized, just because I'm enough of a nut, I guess. But yeah, he was happy to see me, or recommended another person, or I could do dialectical behavioral theory. And I'm like, I looked that up. I don't think mindfulness-based therapies are the approach for me. I mean, CBT already didn't really help, but like what, acceptance and commitment therapy? No, and dialectic behavioral theory is therapy. Therapy is the word I mean, not theory. All this mindfulness crap about just like the meditation, no. Maybe that's for another ramble because I wanted to keep this to 20 minutes. We're already heading up to 30. But anyway, so I've told her, I spent all weekend thinking about it. I've told her I want to just see my previous psychiatrist, because like then I don't have to go back through the entire life story. We can just pick up where we left off. And then, like, if he can't help me, maybe he can refer me to someone, like, once I've explained some more of my problems. If I can even explain them in person, which is the other thing, isn't it? And also, I haven't seen him in, like, 4 or 5 years, so he knows that version of me, and now I'm this version of me, and I'm gonna feel very disconnected about that, so I'm kind of nervous. But I've said, okay, I'll go back and see him, and we'll see how things go. Whether anything gets sorted. And anyway, I can't remember what I've said in this video now, so maybe I just leave it at that. But that's some of the stuff that I'm going through at the moment, and having told oh, whoops, I didn't mean to, what did I just do to my phone? Oh my god, that freaked me out. Anyway, yeah, that's some of the stuff that I've been going through, and I'm a little bit freaked out that I actually mentioned the split personality thing in a medical context, and I feel like kind of an idiot for doing it because I know it's all this made up bullshit, but there are things about it that affect my life, and so maybe I do just, like, deal with it. Yeah, it's a bit nerve-wracking to make it, like, official in that way. Yeah, so, stuff and things. And hopefully I've had the guts to post this, but I guess if you're watching that now, like, well done me. And we'll pick up some stuff later, maybe, or maybe I'll just move on to something else, and I don't know. Everything's weird. Life is weird. Nothing feels real. What even am I doing? I think that's enough. I hope it made sense.